All right. Good morning and happy hump day. Hopefully, you guys are having a great day so far. Welcome to the stream. My name is Jacob Gabbard. This is Invest with Jacob. And today, as it with every Wednesday, we live trade our indicator. Had an absolute monster day yesterday. Have been crushing swing trades. Just an absolute killer indicator. And you see here we had this monster sell. Started right here at about 939. Went all the way down to 934. So a 5-point move straight down. We had this buy signal yesterday around 635, went straight up to 639, another 4-point move straight back up. So in day trading parlance, that's huge. Two huge moves here. We also had trades here at the beginning of the day for longs that worked out. They aren't on the chart because of how the indicator works sometimes, but I was able to see on the back end that it was a good setup. And so we had a couple winners here, which is why my rooms are so important as well. So if you're new here, welcome to the live stream. We are going to feature what's called IWJ Pivot Point Pro. It is an indicator that I created for TradingView. So you're looking at the 5-minute SPY chart. And this is what we use for day trading. Now, this is also very powerful in swing trading. If you didn't watch yesterday's video, you can go look at the last 3 moves on NVIDIA. There's like a 40% move down that we capture and a 70% move up that we capture. And just shorted a couple weeks ago, that's already down 5%. So a profitable short there as well. But that one's still active. So check out yesterday's live video on my YouTube channel if you didn't see that. But this is a trading view only indicator. It uses price action. It is not backward looking. It doesn't look at moving averages and wait till they cross, or what's the RSI doing, or what's the MACD doing. All of those things are late to the party. Price action identifies high volume reversal areas, and then it looks at about 175 different inputs to make sure that when it hits those areas, we are looking for a reversal, and then it issues a buy or sell. Now, one of the unique things about our indicator is it's looking at multiple time frames as well as multiple charts as once. If you go into the settings of the indicator, you can see that when we're on the SPY, and you have to set this up, but we give you directions on how to do all of this. We're looking at the ES and the NQ all at the same time. And the reason for that is we want confluence in the move. We want a broad buying or a broad selling of the market, because that usually follows through much stronger than, say, just one market. If NQ is moving up and ES is moving down, or vice versa, you typically have a choppy market, and it's not very conducive to trading. So we want to see all 3 markets moving in the same direction at the same time, and then we get that coupled with high volume reversal areas and other inputs, and we get indications that are very close to tops and bottoms. You know, this one was 1 or 2 bars off the top. This one was basically the dead bottom. This one basically the dead top, and that's what we're looking for. Now on the screen, you're going to see yellow, and that is pre-market trading. You're going to see blue, that is post-market trading. We don't trade any of that, but that needs to be turned on in order to get proper signals. And you also need real-time data for the ES and the NQ, or in other words, futures data for the S&P and the NASDAQ. So that's the requirements. Pretty basic. You need a trading view account and then those things. And then you can see here we have some very, very important levels. You have your 1-day max and your 1-day min. It's hard to see the 1-day min because put support's over top of it right here. And then you have your high volume levels, HVL, and your call resistance walls and your put support walls that the market makers want to defend. These are incredibly powerful levels, and they give us insight into what the market makers are looking at the market to do for the entire day as well as at the moment. If you want these levels on your chart, it's called Mentor Q. That's gamma levels end of day, gamma levels intraday. There's a link in the description of this video. You can get a 20% discount on Mentor Q. It is something you have to purchase, but it is an incredible trading tool. It gives you all of the high-level options traded areas on your chart in real time, and it updates throughout the day to make sure that you're up to date on what's going on. And these 1-day min and 1-day max levels are very important for identifying how trading is going to go almost every day. At the end of my midday call, I give a path on what I think the rest of the day will do. And I would say 95 to or so % of the time that path is accurate. because of these levels. You can see, yesterday after our midday call, we were down at put support at the 1-day min. We were actually below. And I said that, and they started to buy up that time. And I said the low of the day was probably in, and the market would grind sideways to higher. And that's exactly what happened into the close. And now we're getting a little bit of a bounce today. So that's what we're doing here today. We're going to trade, day trade the market live. We do it every Wednesday. You can go back and check on my channel the different streams we've done. So welcome to the stream, guys. Good morning. And let's have a great day. As far as the counts go, I do Elliott waves. So when I say the counts, we count how the waves work. Helps us understand the market in a better way. And really gives us an idea of what we're expecting. And then we take that idea of what we're expecting and we look for setups for that particular trade. And if we don't get the setups, we don't trade it. So many people think that if Elliott wave says we're supposed to go up, that we're long. And that's just not the case. If Elliott wave says we're going to go up, or we're supposed to go up as the primary path, we're looking for a setup to get short. Now today we've bounced up into this 64.45, 64.63 region, which is what I talked about as the target zone for this bounce. If they get above 64.86, which is another good resistance level, then we're going to be looking at all-time highs again, most likely in the 65.50 to 65.80 range. However, if they can hold this level and push down, then we would be looking for them to fail to the downside and move kind of like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to couple some things together to come up with a trading plan. So this is what I do in the morning. So I'm looking at this. I say, okay, we're at a key resistance zone, right? The 0.5 retrace to 0.618 retrace. They've hit this area, probably going to test the pre-market high here. So we take that and we say, okay, we're in the prime reversal zone. We come back over to our key levels and we see that we're not that far away from the 1-day max. It is about 20 to 30 points higher than we are right now. And we have our 1-day min about 70 points below where we are now on the ES. So we do have more room to the downside. We do have a kind of capped upside here. So we'd look for them to fail. You have your call resistance level here at 643. You have another one at 645. You would look for them to fail in these, and 644 is also high volume level. So you'd look for them to fail and give us a sell signal somewhere in this zone. And then we look for that, market to play out to the downside back down towards 635. Now we also look at other factors for that. We say, okay, if ES and NQ are green, what's the RTY doing? Well, the RTY is red. So that tells us that we don't have broad market buying on the short of the small caps. So that's a warning sign. When you get a bullish look out of NQ and ES, but RTY is not participating, that's a warning. Dow is not participating. That's a warning. See what the banks are doing. Banks are red. That's a warning. These are all the things we look at as our supporting evidence for what we're looking for overall. And right now you're seeing, even though the market's green to open, we are seeing some evidence that we could see downside. Now, again, we don't trade blindly. We have setups and we have indicators that help us with that. But we do want to have a trade plan that helps us understand that long today may be capped. And we may see some additional downside play out, or at least a gap close or something like that. As far as the Mag 7 go, I'm going to look at them real quick. SMH is up a little. NVIDIA up a little. Meta's up a little. Microsoft is down. Netflix down. So none of the Mag 7 is up. Tesla's not Mag 7 technically. Apple's up quite a bit in the pre-market. So Apple and Google. Apple and Google are crushing in the pre-market. Apple and Google are the weight bearers today, if you will. They're keeping the market up, and we'll see what the ADD and the Volt is looking like at the open. I would suspect it's going to be a slightly positive ADD, like 200 to 400 positive. given the kind of mixed market we're seeing from the Mag 7 and the RTY. Noah, welcome to the stream. Steph, welcome to the stream. Kim, welcome to the stream. Thanks for being here, guys. Really appreciate it. We do this every Wednesday. So in the ES, we're looking for this to be a potential start to a bigger move down. So if that's the case, they came right into support here and bounced. We expect them to come down, bounce a little smaller, and then break through. If that's the case, they're going to test the August lows. The August lows. We would expect them to come down there, bounce, and then if they're going to be bullish, we're going to look for them to rip it back to the highs from this level. If they break, we look for a bounce and then a breakdown, and that bounce and breakdown will be important because a break of the August lows would be the first indication of a character change or overall weakening market. We aren't there to call the top end just yet, but we are looking at a market that would have a character change and at least some sort of bigger correction, if not a bigger top put in. So we still have a ways to go before we can confirm that. We are still up near the highs, so there's no major support broken yet. They broke some minor support yesterday and came down into upper support, which is, the 6360 area. And then if they break that, we would look for them to drop into the 6250 area. Got about 11 minutes to the open, so if you do have a question, please go ahead and post it. Remember, we talked about NQ not needing to make a new high while ES did, and that's what we've seen so far. NQ came right up to this resistance zone that we had drawn in right here, failed it, came down, tested the prior low just like ES, and now has bounced off of it, and it is also in the 50 to 60% retrace zone, 50 to 618, excuse me, and then we would look for them to break down and potentially test the August low here at 22.8. And if they break 22.8, you would see acceleration down here to about 21.8 or so, or 22,000. So a lot of downside if they can break upper support. Downside opens up quickly for the bears. However, if they cannot break upper support, we remain in this bull market and pressure does look up, and we do have targets to the upside. On the NASDAQ, 24,138 to 24,328. And on the ES, it's going to be 65.50 to 65.80. Does anybody have any questions before we get started with the day here in just a few minutes? Guys, if you want to get the indicator, I guess I should go through that. Go over to investwithjacob.com. Go to our membership plans area. You'll see all of our membership plans come up. You have our monthly rooms, daily calls, and then you have our indicators. And the indicators, $59 a month. But right now I'm giving you 30% off your first month with code JG30, and you get a 30-day money-back guarantee. So I want you guys to know that you can try this out. You can paper trade it. You can get it and never actually trade a real trade, but just watch it for the month. And if you don't like it, get your money back and you didn't risk anything to see how this works. Same thing on the yearly. You get the 30-day money-back guarantee, but you do get a 2-month discount. So great deal on the yearly, and with that you get the advanced Elliott Wave and the Elliott Wave for Beginners course for free. So that's $177 value there. We do want you to be happy and succeed. That is our goal. So I don't want you to get something and feel like it's not for you. If you want it refunded, that's no big deal. We've had people that it's not for their trading style, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. It's not for everybody. But if you follow the rules and you go and you get the indicator, a couple things if you get the indicator. So if you go to TV, well, you got to purchase the indicator. You won't have access. But anyway, if you go to this page here, you give me your trading view name so I can give you access to the account, or the access to the indicator. And then you read all of this because, as it says right here, important. You need at least an essential account. And if you don't have TradingView, you can get the indicator and click this link right here, and you'll get a discount on your TradingView account as well. So this is a discount link for you. You'll need this CME CBOT as well. It's $7 a month. That's the real-time data on the futures that I talked about earlier. And then you will set up your TradingView account. Tells you how to do that. You'll set up the indicator. We tell you how to do that. We tell you our exact day trading strategy that has given us over 60% returns over the last 19 months. I guess 20 months now. We have our trend day strategy that tells you how to avoid being caught up in a trend day where things are not going your way. You get these sell signals you can see on here on the video, but the market's moving up, and we identified that this was a trend, so we don't want to trade against that. And then our weekly swing strategy, where we tell you how to play the swings and how those work out as well. So all of that stuff you get with the indicator, and you also get that 30-day money-back guarantee. So we teach you exactly the strategy that we use to create the gains that we have. JG, you may want to share with this group that you have changed the sizing on your trades. That's a good point, Dan. So effective September, so yesterday was the first day, and it was an amazing day. We went from doing what I would call a half-size trade to a full-size trade. Now, what that means is based on your account. If we base it on a $100,000 account, but if you have a $10,000 account, you just move it down to that size. But a half trade on a $100,000 account is 25 contracts, and a full trade is 50. We're doing full-size trades now because we have moved up our base account from 100,000 to 160,000, and that's going to be well below our 5% threshold 99% of the time. And so when we're putting together our options trade, we want to be 1 to 5% of our capital. So if you have $100,000, $5,000 is the level you'd look at. And most option pricing is around $1. I would say probably averages out to $1 or so for any given month. And 25 contracts at $1 is $2,500, and that is 2.5% of a 100K account, so it falls well within that 1 to 5 range. They could even go up to $2, and it would still be $5,000, which is at the high end of that range. But now we're at 160,000, so 5,000 is nowhere near the 5% range. That would be $8,000 at that point. So we're able to do 50 contracts now and up our sizing because of how well we've done over the last 20 months. And that just accelerates income. Yesterday we made $5,600 on our trades on a single day on a 160K account. So that's a pretty darn good day overall, and that's what we look for, day in and day out. Now, as I say all the time, we don't peddle get rich quick. We don't peddle this is a guaranteed thing. You have to follow the rules. You have to be disciplined. You have to be, you have to have a good risk reward strategy, and you have to have good sizing on your trades. If you're doing 20% of your capital or 40 or 50% of your capital or 100% of your capital on trades, you're going to go broke. You just are. You might get that trade that gives you a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 win, but you're also going to get more than that give you bigger losses. You're going to get emotional, and your bank account's going to go down too fast. We have winning streaks and we have losing streaks. That is 100% part of trading, because all your trading is probability, and probability is maybe 70-30, maybe 60-40, but that means that 30% of the time or 40% of the time you're going to lose, and you have to account for that. And that doesn't mean you're going to win 6 and lose 4 out of every 10 trades. You could win 25, and then you could lose, 14 in a row. We've had some very good win streaks and some very bad losing streaks, and that's just part of trading. Sometimes the market does crazy things that are a little bit unexpected and out of the norm, and you have to prepare for that and be ready. So we are getting ready to open here, so I do want to get prepared for the for that. So we need to complete a buy. We'll get ready for the day. I don't think we're going to get a trade right out of the gate here, so we will be patient. Given where we're at, we're going to need to see either a solid down move or an okay up move. Not a big up move. They can test the pre-market high. That'd be perfect. And then we can get a sell from there. If they sell from here, they do. I mean, there's nothing we can do about that. We just don't get a sell signal for it, because what happens is, here real quick, we got 20 seconds. It's already in a sell when this long stop comes in. So it was in a sell. It tried to buy, long stop. Keeps it in a sell cycle. This buy comes in. So it's still in a sell cycle right now, but it's trying to flip into a buy cycle. It sees weakness. Now, this is all pre-market stuff. We don't trade it. It's too sloppy and there's no volume. But that's the idea. So we'll see if they can push up here and give us a completed buy cycle, and then we can see a sell signal after that. And welcome to the stream, Dan. Glad to have you. Hopefully you're feeling all right. We do trade 0 days to expiration options. So that means that we're trading September 3rd options today. The NASDAQ 5-minute chart is in a squeeze right now, so we will keep an eye on that. It does look like the squeeze wants to be to the downside. So we may get an early push down and then a bounce. But we'll let it play out because we're in the middle right now. You have a still strengthening ES while you have a weakening NQ. So we are out of sync there. So we need to let them sync back up. And you're going to see a little bit of chop while they do that. As you can see, this 5-minute bar is chopping up and down pretty hard. And that's what happens when you have markets that are out of sync. So now they're trying to sync up. ES is trying to get down with the NASDAQ. NASDAQ squeeze is playing out to the downside. They have broken their upper support, micro support, and now we'll be working on lower support. A little bit of higher volatility in options prices today, so we could see, like yesterday, some nice moves once they get a trend established here or a move established, whether it's up or down. We can see a nice reversal because you do have some volatility today priced in. So the ADD was weaker than I thought. It was actually negative 500, but it is pushing hard positive right now. It's actually negative 200, so it's moved up 300 in this first 5-minute bar. The VOLD is negative about 40, so it's not terribly, but that's, I mean, it's the open. That's how it goes. It starts light and then builds throughout the day. You are seeing a big green bar on the ES, but still a red bar on the NASDAQ. So if we go take a peek at the NASDAQ real quick, you can see you have a red bar here on the NASDAQ, the challenged VWAP, and bounced right off of that. So upper support was right in this 23,400 region. You can see they pushed through it, but have now bounced above it. They're kind of working on that support zone. But as of right now, you are looking at two markets going in different directions. Big red bar here. If we go back over to the SPY, you'll see a big green bar. So when that happens, you tend to have a choppy market until they sink back up. So the indicator will keep us out of trades here for now. Morning, Sam just entered the room. Yesterday was an incredible day with the indicator. Thanks. I agree. It was a really awesome day. We had so much fun. If you don't have the indicator, guys, now's the time to get it. You get 30% off your first month. I think you'll really enjoy that, and it will, I think, really impact your bottom line. Morning, Sunny. Welcome to the stream. Do you expect volatility and false signals around the JOLTS release? Probably some volatility. Maybe not a false signal, but I could definitely see some volatility around that. I assume that's going to be in about 25 minutes. Morning, Will. Welcome to the stream. Hi, Jacob. How's the move going? It's going. It's a long drive from Washington to Kentucky. We are in Montana right now. We're spending the week here while I work, and then on the weekend we'll be pushing hard over into Illinois, and then I'll work the week from Illinois, and then on that next weekend we'll get down to Kentucky and settle in over there. Jack Barnes, yesterday was fun to watch. Close another half and trail stops, close another half and trail stops, etc., etc. It was fun. Nothing like stacking up money. That's a good way to trade and be. Welcome to the stream, Jack. Good morning. Or afternoon. Guess depends on where you are. Or evening, if you're over the seas somewhere. Jack, you're going to be excited to know there is a rooster here that has been crowing this morning, but he is not nearly as aggressive as the Washington rooster. Maybe Montana's a lucky charm for me. Could be. I think more just volatility is a good thing, and the indicator handles it pretty well. So NQ continuing to put together red bars here, so be careful. It's looking like it wants to lead to the downside. Morning, Rambler. Welcome to the stream. Shout out to the Kentucky rooster. The kickin' chicken. Are you talking about wild turkey? That's a different kind of rooster. We have some of those here in central Pennsylvania among the Amish. Joseph, welcome to the stream. ES is not having any, Inspire, not having any part of this move down from the NASDAQ. So something's got to give. Either the ES is about to unravel, or the NASDAQ's going to find a bottom, and they're both going to bounce here. Given that, well, RTY has actually turned positive this, at the open here. So that is a positive development for the bulls, because you're not going to get a big rally without RTY on board, and they were red to start the day or to open. So something to keep in mind there. The transport's slightly green. The banks have flattened out. But SMH and NVIDIA have turned over. So kind of a mixed bag of what's going on. You're flipping sides here. What do we got? Gold smashing again. We're crushing there, guys. AK Wax up another 3% yesterday. Just crushing. Bitcoin still hanging in there around 111. The US 30 still hanging in there around 5. Silver up a little today. We'd like to see it. Silver's right at its target that we gave, I don't know, like a year ago. 37, 33. That's not the overall target if you're not part of my rooms, but we did say silver would be at 37, 33, and they probably hit that today or overnight. Yeah, 37, 33 exactly. How's that? Is that pretty good? As the late, great David Frost would say, how do you like them apples? Okay, NQ still has red, but is trying to find a bottom here while ES is moving up. Again, we're still out of sync on the markets. You have a sell cycle on the ES and still a buy cycle working out on the sell cycle on the NQ, and still trying to work out a buy cycle here on the ES. Now the ADD has advanced to positive 300 from negative 500, and the ES hasn't been able to go anywhere. That is a weak sign. Usually when you see the ADD advancing like that, you see kind of a push with it, even a mini squeeze. Now you could still see that. It could be building, but right now the ES is weak. Strong compared to NASDAQ, weak compared to the signals around it. You would expect ES to be moving up, not strongly, but consistently here, and it's taking on red. We're at call resistance right here. So if we zoom over, you can see our call resistance level in the red line. And so you got a high volume level. You're basically trapped between these two levels right now. If one of them breaks, then we should see either 641 or 644 next. Nobody taking charge. This is looking like a weak volume kind of day. Of course, you do have 7 o'clock coming up here. Maybe that'll be this. Oh, yeah, very weak volume. You can see the first bar of the day is less than half of the first bar of yesterday. So very weak volume to start the day. So no conviction here on this move up. Do you trade live every day? Depends on what you mean. So like this, every Wednesday on YouTube, I do live stream where you get to see my chart. You get to hear the trades. You get to go through everything and see it step by step as we do it. On the other days, we trade live in my room, but not with a video like this. I put out the trades as they happen, but most of the people in my room have the indicator already and use it currently, so they know when the trades are coming too. But if you don't have the indicator, you can be in my room, and I give you the trades there every day as well. You'll hear me put them in the room today as we get them, assuming we get a trade. Right now, nobody's moved anything. But so the answer is yes, we trade every day. Live trading, that depends on what you mean. As far as video go, just on Wednesday. Just so everybody's aware, in my room on Monday morning, an hour before the open, we have a live call. Every day, Monday through Friday, we have a 1 Eastern live call. And then every day, Monday through Thursday, 5 minutes before the bell, we have a closing call where we go through the charts, make sure everybody's on the same page, make sure everybody has the information they need. The closing call is the call that are on my YouTube videos, so that's what those are like. But the midday call, we go through all the stocks anybody wants to hear about. We go through the Mag 7, we go through gold, Bitcoin, everything else. All of that stuff is covered during that call. And welcome to the stream, Lace Locks. ES still trying to work its way higher. Very ugly, choppy open so far. You have NQ trying to work its way lower, ES trying to work its way higher. So we're seeing some mixed signals here. RTY has strengthened quite a bit. We'll see if it can maintain that strength. And YM has remained red, as has the banks. So mixed signals all around. You're not seeing strong breadth, and you're not seeing strong moves, and that's because you have markets going in two different directions. Alejandro, I started trading the SPY this past year. I'd like to hear, and if it has been changing more throughout the years. I'm not sure what you mean by changing more exactly, but by changing I mean price action. Sorry, I see your comment lower. No, I don't think it's changed. Price action is price action. It's been very similar, and I think we've been pretty good at kind of understanding it. You do have months that are a little different. Last month, August was not a great month for us, I'll be honest. But out of now 20 months, we've had 4 losing months and 16 winning months. So I'm very happy with the indicator's performance overall. Losing months are part of trading. Losing is part of trading as long as you're overall winning in the long game. Trading is not about getting rich quick. If you think it is, you're going to fail, and you're going to struggle. Everyone's still piling into gold. Yeah, we have a target of 350 or so, and that could extend. We will pull some out around that level, though. But we put so EK Wax is our metals account over here on the side. You'll see it here in just a second. It's right here. Oops, I didn't mean to click on it. 108,760 is where it's at as of yesterday. You get it each day. So 108,760, we bought into that at about 49 with our 401ks and our retirement monies and plans that could get into it. People got into other precious metal funds, whatever they had available to them. But we're up, like 110% in a year, a little over a year on our retirement, where the market is, up about 5% or something. It's up a little more than that, but it ain't up 110, I can tell you that. What went wrong in August? You had a lot of consolidation period in August. So the way, and it was volume consolidation at times. So the way one of the things the indicator looks at is it looks for key levels. And what you were getting is, okay, so VWAP's a key level. So you got to move down into VWAP, okay, and then you got a bounce that gave you a long trigger, and then it either did this where it didn't stop you out for like an hour and then stopped you out, or it did that and then poked you out and then went higher. And this high level this high consolidation period, if you got stopped out after an hour, well, theta kills you. So you were taking bigger losses than you typically would because of the theta, and that is a very hard thing to trade because you have a trade, you have a stop, and you want to respect that. But and after that hour move, of sideways, could you get this? Yes, you could. The secondary problem with August is we take our first half win at 20%. And a lot of times you would get, a spike into that 20% win zone. So we'd take that first half win, they'd spike it down, stop you out. So you had a small win and then continue the move. So you didn't get as many runners as we normally get. So a runner, like yesterday, we had 2 runners back to back, which is excellent. So yesterday you had this sell signal. And then not only did you get 20% on the first bar, it continued down for 50 points. You didn't get as many of those in August, and then you had this buy signal that gave you 20 cents and then ran off the charts. So you didn't get as many of those in August, and you got the ones you did get were getting poked out on the consolidation. So it was overall just kind of an ugly month in that way of kind of not having follow through in either direction. Neither the bears nor the bulls could follow through in a way that worked out, or a way that is typical of the market, and there was a lot more overlapping diagonal type structures. Okay, we were very close to getting into a sell cycle, but ES held on to its buy, so no long stop yet here. Also, a fair amount of the good days in August, when I mean good days where the market moved consistently for you, they were trend days and they were gap and go days in both directions, mostly up. And you never got an entry. So on the good days, you weren't getting the entries because there was no pullback. And on the bad days, you were getting a lot of chop. So it was just a tough month. Sometimes the market has a wonky month where price action's a little odd, but for the most part, it follows the plan. Sean, NQ do a buy here. Yeah, NQ does have a buy on it. However, it is entering back into a squeeze, as is ES. So we'll see how that plays out. It could be a squeeze to the upside here, but ES never got through its sell cycle, so we're not going to get a signal here. Again, we're getting 2 markets doing opposite things. They're both kind of trying to sync up now, but they're not there yet. So we can still see a little more chop here. So be careful. We're not trading this yet. We don't have markets that are in sync or showing any kind of follow through. We had a big move down yesterday. Today could be an inside day, a very choppy day. Happens a lot after big moves. Joltstad at 10 a.m. probably causing this gyration. Yeah, I mean, possibly. I'm sure it'll cause some little bump up or down. Those little news drops at 7 a.m. Pacific or 10 Eastern, whatever, tend to cause a little chaos, but then they settle into whatever they were going to do. So as I said, we're not synced up, so you're seeing lots of chop here. That's why the indicator looks at the ES and the NQ at the same time, because if you were just looking at the ES, you might be saying this is a buy. uh, but you're never going anywhere and you're getting stopped out and you're in the mud, and that's because the NQ is not following along. So lots of things you can't see all at once are compiled in the indicator to give you uh, the entry points and exit points that we're looking for. And I had somebody reach out and email me and tell me that how they were going to improve it. And, I'm not saying it's perfect or it can't be improved. I will tell you this, the number one fallacy of inexperienced traders is I can take what the professional trader uses and make it better. And again, it's not perfect. I'm sure you can improve on it. I know you can. We're always looking to improve on it. We've improved on it a lot. But we're looking at very, very detailed things. Inexperienced traders come in and think they can just wave their hand over it and be like, oh, yeah, see, it's better. And that usually leads to poor trading, losing trading, and then saying the indicator doesn't work because they didn't follow the rules, implemented their own rules, and failed. The other one is that, hey, I used this for a day, it doesn't work. Well, nothing works on a given day, or everything works on a given day. It's a day. We wiped out an entire month on one day yesterday. August was a losing month. The first day of September erased that completely. So it's just part of trading. You have to understand there are swings in trading. Your money, if you go look at your account and just investing, if you're not day trading, if you're just buying NVIDIA, you're going to see that your money goes up and down because you're going to have winning and losing days on NVIDIA. You're going to have winning and losing days day trading. You're going to have winning and losing days no matter what you do. Sometimes those losing days stack up. We get a 10% correction in the market. So if you held NVIDIA and you got a 10% correction or a 40% correction earlier this year, you were sad, but you had a good stock that you believed in, and you were happy when you got the 70% gain back to new all-time highs. So trading is just a game of patience and of risk reward and of having an edge. And if you have the edge and apply it relentlessly, you will win at trading. If you think you can fix things and change things and do things better, maybe you can. I'm certainly not here to tell you I'm perfect or that you guys aren't capable. I'm here to tell you that as an inexperienced trader, you are very likely going down a path of losing if you do those things. I would say be ready. Assuming this long stop holds, that means we would be eligible for a buy signal on the market, as ENQ is also in a sell. So when the sell weakens, we see buy signals come back in. You have JOLTS data in 3 minutes, and that can be very quick. So I would say be ready. I have currently a 642 strike for a call, selected and primed and ready to go, so that if it does give me a quick call signal, I'm ready to take it. And we're moving down into the pre-market low area, 641. So just be ready here. A couple minutes, we may get a quick buy signal, and we need to be ready for it. I do get to sleep an extra hour in Montana. That's nice. Getting up at 5:30 a.m. in the Pacific time zone. That's early, but 6:30. That seems like sleeping in. Like to see him push on down toward the pre-market low here. That'd be a better entry. So we may or may not get that. We'll see. We'll see what we get here in about 20 seconds. So I mentioned earlier it was weak of the ES to not be able to push higher when the ADD had pushed from negative 500 to positive 500, 1,000 delta change, and ES went nowhere. I said that was a weak thing, and we saw the ES drop down below this this low right here and make new lows. Okay, there's our buy signal. We got, that was quick, 133. Yikes, that was high end of that one. 133, and we are going to have 4180 as our stop. We rejected the 8 here so far. We'll see if we can get through that and push up toward the pre-market high. That would be ideal. So 133 is our entry. That means we need 26 cents, which is 59. So 160 will be our exit. Our first, I should say our first half exit. So for you guys that don't know what we do, we close half the trade at 20% win. And that basically starts to cover any stop outs that we have. And then we let the second half run. If it can run, it doesn't always run, but we try to let the second half of the trade run. And, so essentially the idea is you cap your losses with a stop, but you let your gains maximize and you let them run. You take some up front and then let the rest run to maximize your gains. And that runner, when the market runs, that tends to be mostly profit. There's a lot of math that goes into the risk-reward strategy that we use, and how we figured it out and how we designed it so that we could be successful and we could, over 20 months, return 60% on our money. I mean, those are insane numbers. People are unrealistic about gains. You can't find any fixed gain better than about 7 to 8% right now in annuities. And those are special annuities that you got to have certain rules on and blah, blah, blah. So fixed gains, you're getting 8%. In the market, you have to rely on what the market gives you. The stock market averages 10%. And I say the stock market, I should say the S&P 500 averages 10% per year. Because sometimes, you have big blowout years, sometimes you have losing years, but it averages 10%. Over the last 20 months, we've returned 60%. So when people want to improve the indicator and blah, 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 yes, of course we want to improve. Of course we want to get better. But I think you're having a conceptual issue on how gains work in the stock market and what to expect in a realistic view. 60% overshoots a lot, almost everything. Pushing through VWAP and the 21 here. Very strong from the bulls. So on the move down, the ADD dropped back down to around 0. It is now pushing back up to about 85 or so. Get a little bit of follow through here and we'll have our first take. Do you look for swing trades throughout the week or just wait till Friday with the weekly candle to complete? Weekly candle to complete. So on Fridays, on my 10 a.m. call, we go through, I just started doing this, but we go through the Mag 7. And 5 of the Mag 7 are in sells right now. And have played out, NVIDIA's down 5% on that sell. Microsoft was down 10. So they hit $1.58 on this. We had $1.60 as our take. If we miss this by 2 cents, I'm going to be very frustrated with that. Hopefully they hold and push higher, though. NQ's looking fairly strong, so I think we'll be able to hold here. NQ's trying to still keep their candle green, so I think ES will probably come along. But if we miss this one by 2 cents, that's super annoying. Are you? Okay, we just tagged 160 there, so close half for 160. And our stops are going to be 130. So we closed half for 160, stops at 130. We get a winning trade now. Let's hope they can hold. And, I didn't do that, did I? Okay, we stopped out at 130, so our average exit there's 145. Small winner to start the day. But remember, when we're trading full size, you only need 8 cents a day to make 100K, because we're trading 50 contracts, and that's $400 a day, which is $2,000 a week. So we stopped at 130. Average exit 145. So this may be an unfortunate stop out. These are the type of things I was talking about in August, where you get the winner, they pull back, they stop you at 130, and then continue. We'll see if that's the case. They haven't continued yet, but that's kind of the thing that was happening in August, is the runner would happen, but they'd pull back just far enough to stop you out. And so we would miss a couple of those runners, which is, part of trading. You're going to miss some trades here and there, just the way it goes. Bounced off of it, but now they've come back to back test the 21 and VWAP, which are sitting on top of each other. Oh, there's the move down. Okay. My my screen was frozen there for a minute, so I did not see this bar break down. Good thing we got stopped out, huh? All right, breaking down into the pre-market low here. See if they can get there. I believe the NASDAQ already broke its pre-market low. Let's take a look real quick here. Oh, no, it did not. Sorry. Its pre-market low is down here at 23.3. So plenty of room for the NASDAQ to come down, plenty of room for the SPY and the ES to come down. You guys still with me? It said it was a disk saw reconnection successful. I didn't realize I was disconnected. Are you guys still out there? Did it disconnect? Okay. All right, good. I don't know why it said reconnection successful on my end. Good. I'm glad you guys didn't get disconnected there. My screen froze for a minute too, so maybe it was just my internet for a second or something. I don't know. Or maybe it was TradingView. But anyway, new lows here. So we could accelerate. The pre-market low should be at least, well, we got to look at the overall pre-market low because it doesn't usually get it. So down here around 641 flat should be a point of where the market may want to bounce, possibly even above that, but in that zone. We did get a long stop there, so we could get another chance at a buy signal. I'm still sitting on 642 as my strike. If the bulls are able to mount any kind of move here. Are we still looking for upside or downside now? Well, that depends. Which you got to give me a time frame, and you know, I mean, nothing's really happened today. We've moved basically sideways all day, sideways to down. If you watch the beginning, I said we were looking for them to top in this area on a bounce and move down. So we'd still be looking for downside here in the kind of medium term, shorter to medium term. In the very short term, you know, they're at the pre-market low. Today could be a really choppy day overall. Like I said, big moves down tend to produce an inside day the following day or even a rally. Don't let 5-minute bars adjust your view of the market. That's not what we look at to understand the market. We look at hourly, daily, 4 hour. I'm on the 2 hour here. We're looking at this 64.63, 64.45 area to hold and then push down from there. And so far, that's what we're seeing. So far. I know you like using the 5, but why? Is it because you always had, or statistically better? We found that statistically it was working out better for follow-through trades. The 1 minute's too early and gives you too many false signals and too many losses, and the 10 minutes too long to get in near the bottoms. So the 5's kind of that, and the 15's too long. For day trading, the 5's kind of that sweet spot of building the momentum and giving it time to actually build, as opposed to the 1 minute that fails too early or triggers too early, or the 15 that triggers too late. Okay, we got a buy signal, and we got in at 125. And our stop is going to be 642. This is moving good. Yeah, there we go. We're going to go to that. Okay, we got in at 127 there. Sorry, I got to get everybody updated here. We got in at 127. I'm sorry, 125, not 127, 147. 125 is 25 cents, which is $1.50. So we're about ready to have our first take here, if we can get that. If I can get through VWAP here, that's a kind of a key. I'm not in the current swing trade. Do you have a suggested entry point or possible setup coming? Or should I wait for longer term bounce and then better setup? I mean, this spot's not terrible because of where you're at, and then you can stay in until we get the stop out. You missed the first move, but you got to bounce back for a better entry, and you're at the 618 area. Okay, there's our first take at 150. So that's 2 winners today. Look at this. We're on fire. Close half for 150. We'll put our stops at 125. See if they can bounce this out of here a little bit. Guys, this is how the indicator works. Most of the time, you're going to get good entries, good exits, and put some money in your pocket. You know, it's not every day you're going to win. It's not every week you're going to win. Not even every month, but the majority of the days you will win. The majority of the weeks you will win. The great majority of the months you will win. You have to stay the course. You have to understand the risk reward setup, and you have to use good sizing, and you will do fantastic. This is going to be a key area. They failed it many, many times here. This 643 area. You can see they failed it at the open 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. Came back and tested it again another 2 times here. Testing it again here. So if they can get through that, they should squeeze up to 644 pretty quickly. Actually, we'll say 643.75. That's the pre-market high. And then we'll see if they get to 644 after that. But we would expect them, given the overall price action here, we would expect them to go hit that 643.75 more often than not. Does anybody know why? We talk about it every week. See if anybody's actually paying attention and learning anything. No one knows why. They came down to the pre-market low, not quite, a little bit short of it, but into that vicinity and failed, and they failed it back above VWAP. And once you do that, you have a failed breakdown. More often than not, that failed breakdown results in the top of the range, which is the pre-market high, which is 643.75. Remember, pre-market low and pre-market high are very important. If they get through them, it can be the start to a trend day. If they reject them, it can be the start of a reversal back down to the opposite. So they came into the pre-market low here, failed to get through it, big bar off of it, back above VWAP, back above this resistance zone, if they can hold it, and that generally leads us back to the pre-market high. May not be directly, so keep in mind it doesn't mean that off of the pre-market low they're going to do this. You may get, this, but eventually we should see 643.75 today. Yes, do I get a free membership now? Well, you didn't have completely the right answer, Will. You just said pre-market high, and yes, it is the pre-market high. I was looking for the reason we would be going back to the pre-market high. Is it pre-market low or overnight low different on ES? So, yeah, they are different sometimes. In this case, they're a little bit different. So if you zoom out, you'll see the yellow is pre-market on the SPY and the blue is post-market. And so the true pre-market happened in the blue post-market trading at 641.09. But the pre-market low is whatever it struck on the pre-market side, the yellow side. In any case, the low down here is what you would expect to hold. and bounce. They didn't quite get down there, but they got close enough that it was a failed breakdown. So we would now look for them to try to extend here to the 643.75 zone. They're in another key resistance zone. Again, they failed this zone many times here, so we'll see if they can get through. Looks like they want to squeeze it now. Rejected the high pretty much exactly so far. We'll see if they can get through. Well, you can have a 7-day free membership and then decide what you want to do after that. Price action is repeatable. It's the same on every chart. Doesn't matter what the stock is or what the index is or what the commodity is. It's all the same. It's all about volume, support, and resistance. That's where buyers and sellers are looking to get in the market, at least astute ones. And those things are highly, highly critical. It's about knowing what happened when those levels break and knowing what happens when they hold. When the pre-market low holds and they break back above VWAP, very often you're going to see the pre-market high get hit. If the pre-market high holds and they break back below VWAP, very often you're going to see the pre-market low get hit. Those things happen quite a bit. Don't forget to press the like button, cock-a-doodle-doo. Yeah, actually press it every time that the rooster crows, and I'll have about 2.5 billion likes. I do appreciate that, Joe. If you guys would, Joseph, you put in Joseph, so I don't want to say Joe. Some people don't like that. So if you do want to press that like button, that would be great. You know, we have 2 winning trades today. We try to give you some training tips as well on understanding market behavior. I think we've been pretty accurate so far. I identified that this was out of sync and would be choppy. It was until it got back in sync. We got a winner. Got back in sync. We got a winner. If it gets into Backstreet Boys, then we have something really going. But right now it's just in sync. The 64.48 level is proving to be, not 64.48, sorry, 64.50 roughly level is proving to be very strong for the Bulls. They are not able to push through it yet. Okay, we stopped out there at 125. All right, our average exit there, 138. I do round up the first one of the day, and I round down the second one, and then alternate back and forth from then on. So that was 137.5. We rounded up to 138. The next one would be 137 if we had the exact same trade. Man, they came down and just tapped us out by a penny here so far, and now they're ripping it back up. That stinks. Metals are again soaring. Yeah, I mean, I said, so I've been talking for a while. We got a minute here because well, we could get a sell signal coming. Let's see, gold. Gold's up another 238. I said on gold that it was building a triangle, and it was either going to be um, a wave 4 or a B wave triangle, and it turned out to be a wave 4. But on the daily, gold consolidated in this triangle for a very long time. And when you break out of a triangle of that long of consolidation, you're going to get a big move. They broke out to the upside. We were expecting 345 or so after that. They're very close to that target. Silver above its target, it hit 37.33 and rejected a little bit, but now it's pushed through it. So hitting our targets that we put out, forever ago. Gold, again, we got into gold all the way back at like 220. It might have been less than that. I don't know. I can't remember. But we got into this, like I said, the EK wax down here. We got into this at $49, and it's at 108.76. So, if you're not in my rooms, these are the types of things we do. We maximize retirements. We day trade. We swing trade. But I mean, as a collective trading environment, I think I'm biased. It's my room. I think it's hard to beat, especially if you throw in PT. He's awesome. Keep in mind, any signals you see on gold there aren't accurate because it's set up for the SPY, not gold. If I was going to put it on gold, we would go in here, change the settings to GLD and GLD, and then we would look at it. Guys, hit the like button, share, subscribe, comment, tell your friends. I'm here to help people become better traders. I answer basically any question anybody has in my rooms. And I want you guys to succeed. That's the whole goal, is to build an army of successful traders who can help themselves when things get tougher here in the future, which I am very confident they are going to get tougher. Can it go higher than the pre-market high? Nope. It's not allowed. Yes, it can do anything at once. The 1-day max is up here at about 645.50 on a day like today. I would not expect that to get breached. Very low volume, choppy type of day, so it's not one of those trend days like yesterday where you're seeing the market. Push back into this heavy resistance zone. So far rejected it again. However, they've pushed into this enough that I would suspect they're going to push up into 643.75, and we'll see what happens there. We do have a sell cycle complete on both charts. A buy cycle complete. That doesn't mean that the buying is over. That means that the market is ready. The next signal will be a sell. It's not ready for a sell. The next signal you get will be a sell signal. Barring some very weird market movement. Sean, no, would not be 5 up from yesterday's low. Let me look at the fibs. I don't think it would be. How's that? can't tell you for sure. So I would look at this as, let's see here. Expect a pretty deep pullback here, and then a one of three, two of three type thing, one of three, two of three breakout towards 65.80. Odd's not the right word. The height of it is odd. Let me see I want to see what they project if it pulls back fairly normal. So you get the 2.0 back to about here. Yeah, 65. So it's going to project pretty high. 66.30. Yeah, so I would say it doesn't seem right that it would be a 5-wave move here. So fib-wise, yes, I could see how you would see that. The 1-2 is a little weak, but we'll see. We'll just have to kind of see how the structure plays out there. I do need to get my trade set up here. Okay. I mean, if you look at this is a nasty bunch of 5-minute bars, and we have 2 winning trades in there. So those are always good days when you sneak in a couple of wins amongst a whole bunch of mess. That's always nice. What? As we move toward the pre-market high, keep in mind if it gets above it, we do have the start to a potential trend day up. Remember, if you're new here or you don't remember, you should remember, we talk about it every week. You get above the pre-market high, you come back and test VWAP and the 21, which are the blue and black lines on my screen here. Come back, as long as they hold above that and make a new high above the previous high, that generally 80 to 90% of the time leads to a trend day, at least for the most of the morning when we would trade. So we would ignore sell signals at that point. Hey JJ, won't you think this move is weak considering it's driven by large moves by a few mega caps? And the volume's fairly low. I don't know that's necessarily weak. You don't necessarily need volume if there's no buyer or no sellers. I do suspect there are some sellers out there waiting for these levels. to sell into. But just because a move doesn't have broad participation doesn't mean that it is weak. The Mag 7 can move the market by themselves. So if they get into rally mode, and all 7 of them are on board, it's going to move the market into positive territory because we are in a bubble. Remember, we're in an AI bubble where 10 stocks are responsible for like 45% of the stock market's gain over the past however many years of the bull market run. 10 stocks are responsible for almost half of the entire gain. So there's the pre-market high. I told you we were likely to hit it. Ding, another target hit. Unfortunately, they pulled back and stopped us out first. Like I said, they don't have to straight line it up there. They can pull back and then go, and that's what they did, and they stopped us out. So those things happen, but we understand price action, and that's important. Google is cooking today. Yeah, so was Apple. Apple was killing too. 3%, 8%. And Tesla's up 3%. So you're seeing a lot of those three. Those three are really driving. If you look at the rest of the Mag 7, 0.5%. Nvidia's doing okay. 0.5%, 1/4%, basically flat, 0.75%. So Tesla, Apple, and Google really pushing the market today. We are through the pre-market high now, so keep that in mind. We're coming into a high volume level, so I would entertain a short here if we get one. But keep in mind we may be building into a trend day up here. A trend day up, by the way, doesn't mean that we're going to go up another 40 points. It means that you're very likely to see any big sells and the bottom is likely in. So for the day, the bottom of the day is in. So if they start a trend, the biggest thing it means is this is very likely the low of the day. And, unless they fail and break down here, and then you'll see them come on down and break through. But if we get the trend day parameters in place, though, it means that the low of the day is likely in, and that the market will hover above that in one way or another, whether it's straight up or it does, this something, it doesn't have to be a huge up day. It just means that the trend is up and you're not likely to get sell-offs. Same thing to the downside. If you get a trend day down, the trend is down, you're not likely to get huge rallies. And the top is likely in on a trend day down. I should say the high of the day is likely in, not the top. That's confusing. QQQ not even retraced 50% from the previous high. That can push SPY higher. Yeah, SPY can go up to that. That 764 is a very strong area too. And remember, even if this is going to be the top, bull traps are very, very common. You have this 764 that comes back up into this kind of left shoulder area where you could have a potential head and shoulders. Again, you still want this to have spiked down a little further, so you're kind of slanted this way on that head and shoulders, but still possible for that to happen. We're still in this, we're not even up to 64.82 yet, 64.69. These are all valid retrace zones. So, those are the wrong ones. We're not up to 64.63 yet and 64.86. Sorry, that's for the up move. I got to take those off the chart. So they still haven't hit the 618 here at 63, and then you have 86 above that. So nothing super shocking here, and they are hitting a high volume level right above us. So that 63 zone, remember these are bull traps. They're supposed to look very bullish, and then they fail. Let's see if we get a trade here. I got to get us set up. Off of this high volume level. Volatility has slowed down a little in the options pricing, so I don't expect a big sell-off. Low volume today. I don't expect a big move up. I kind of expect 645 to 645.50, I guess, to cap us here on any kind of move up. Again, that's the 0 DTE gamma wall as well as the 1-day max. Keep in mind that one, as the ES and NQ continue to climb, the RTY is deteriorating again. And two, seasonally, we are entering a very, very poor time for the markets. So you would expect some weakness overall, and you're not seeing any volume today. So those are all things to look at and keep in mind for your supporting evidence. The 6463 zone, 644 is a high volume level, 6463 on the ES is a 618. So this is a key zone right here. If the bulls can push through, then we're probably going to run up to 83, 6483, and that's probably around 645, same type of zone. If they fail here though, and they fail strongly enough, we could see them come down and break the lows. So any failure breaking back below, I'm going to say 642.50, this high volume level right here. Anything that breaks back below that is very likely to break back down below the pre-market low. Don't forget, guys, if you want to get the indicator, which is 2 for 2 today, and crushed yesterday and is doing great over the last 20 months of using it, 30% off your first month with code JG30 and the normal price after that. You also get a 30-day money-back guarantee on both the yearly and the monthly, because I want you to make sure you love it and it's for you before you continue down the path of having it. Still fighting with this 644 level. That is going to be the initial key level here. If they get through that, 645 is likely incoming pretty quick. Continuation of the squeeze. But if they fail here, we can see them come down and at least test VWAP, which is in the 643, 642.75 range. Test that area and see how it goes. Otherwise, we're looking at basically a trend day starting to the upside, where we're going to not really want to get involved with sell signals. All right, let's see if we fail here and get enough to get a sell signal. I'm currently sitting on a 644 put, waiting for a sell, just so you guys are aware. All right, we put in a little doji here. Let's see if bears have any follow through. What happened with that last trade? We won. We unfortunately we got stopped out on, so we got our first take here, and then they pulled back right here and stopped us out, and then ripped it higher out, and then they start to move higher, and they didn't take the stop out. So let's say I didn't let the stop happen. Right, we got stopped out, but I blocked it, and then it goes higher. That reinforces a horrible habit and says, oh, it must be good to do that. I must be smarter than trading. I must be smarter than the market, or than professional traders, or than everybody. And all it really does is the next time that you get in that spot, you get to your stop out, and instead of the market doing this, you hang in there and the market does this. And the 1 or the 30 extra cents you may have won here turns into $1 loss here, and you're a net loser overall, because when that does break, you tend to do these things. And if you don't, you're lying to yourself. Oh, it's going to go back up. All right, we'll let it come back down here to this equal low, and then it's going to bounce there. And then it does this, and you're like, see, it's going to bounce there, and then it does this, and you're like, okay, well, this high volume level is probably going to hold, and then it does this. And by that time, you're screwed. So don't let your stops ever change. If you get stopped out, you get stopped out. Shit happens. Did you re-enter? No, you never re-enter. You take the trade. When it's over and you're stopped out, the trade is over. You wait for the next trade. Still fighting with 644 here. Connection. Are you guys not seeing the stream right now? Can somebody confirm that the stream is still up and running and everything's good for me? I'm pretty sure it is, but your comments are making me worried. Everything on my end shows it's good. Intermittent for Sean G confirmed. Connection is in and out. Okay. I am on Starlink for the first time in a while here because I am traveling, so that may be an issue. Chinro, John, Brad, Tracy, R. Smith, welcome to the stream. Thank you for the update. This week and next week I'll be on Starlink, so that could cause the stream to be a little more laggy. But then after that, I'll be back on regular internet. Thoughts on Starlink? Phenomenal. It is absolutely phenomenal. The only reason it's got lag right here is I can tell you that the signal where it's coming in from is blocked by 700 pine trees, and I'm able to live stream. So when it has a clear signal, it's phenomenal. I love it. When it has a blocked so you're going to want something that works with that, and Starlink is very good. And if you have any kind of clear view of the sky, like I said, it's better than any high speed internet I've had at home. Cox or whoever else is out there is terrible. I hate them. They tell you they're giving you all these 120 megabytes of download, and they never do, and you're always resetting and stuff. So sorry, it cut out. Sorry, it's phenomenal. I would highly, highly, highly recommend Starlink. Like I said, there's about 70 trees blocking the signal, and you're still able to stream, which is not normal. We watched TV last night, and there was no breakup in the TV at all. Live streams, there's a lot of data. You're live streaming, my voice, the picture, and everything else, and it's still able to get out at least a usable live stream. I know it's not great for everybody today, but at least it's usable. We're going to give them a chance to provide a cell signal up here. If that cell signal fails, we're probably going to call it for the stream today. If it succeeds, we'll see what happens. So we moved to the top of the range for the day, basically. If they get through this, as I said, very likely to trend the rest of the day. If they fail here, we could see a failure, either a back test and continuance or a failure all the way back down. We'll just have to see how they play it out. It's been a choppy day, so I wouldn't expect an explosion day higher here. 645, 645.50 should contain it. Slow moving up here. Let's see if we can get some kind of price action rejection off this level. Watching paint dry now. Wise slightly better than flat, but basically flat here. So keep that in mind that we are not seeing RTY really want to accelerate out of here. And very often that leads to reversals. So supporting evidence is still red. Banks are red. Dow Jones Transport's red. The Dow's red. RTY is the only supporting evidence that's green, but barely green at that. So again, a reversal here would not be shocking. They're putting some pressure on here. I do believe 645 is starting to become a likely target here. I'm going to give them 1 or 2 more bars to see if they can give us a reversal. If they don't, we'll likely call it for today. So we'll probably, let's see, it's going to be 8:10. I'll give them till 8:20 to give us a reversal. If they don't give us one by then, we're going to go ahead and call it as a 2-trade winning day. And, another nice, easy day for the indicator. I was making fun of my father-in-law because he gets stung by a bee like every time there's a bee around. It's incredible, and he's allergic to them. And I think in my places, meaning one was in Spokane, Washington, and one was here in Montana. 2 different bees. I used to be friends with bees. They never bothered me. I never bothered them. Now me and bees have a history, so now I have a problem with bees. But I just thought that was interesting. I had never in my life, I think the last time I was stung, I was like 8. And I just got stung twice on one day, and that was very irritating. All right, we might get looks like the bears are trying to give us something here. I mean, it's not a lot. It's moved like 20 cents, 30 cents, but still, it's a chance. Got to get through the 8. That's the red line on the chart there. If they get through that, they can start to build momentum to come back and test the 21, which is going to be down here at 643.21, and then VWAP, which is down here at 642.93, also in conjunction with this resistance here. So 643, a level that the bears will want to get down and test and try to get through. I just spent 6 weeks in Montana. It was not nice. Missoula was home base. Went to Yellowstone. I think you meant so nice. Went to Yellowstone and Glacier. Caught a bunch of trout on the Blackfoot River. Yeah, we are actually just outside of Missoula right now. 15 minutes outside of Missoula, and it's awesome. I have been to both Glacier and Yellowstone, but I only spent like half a day in Glacier because I didn't realize you had to make a reservation, blah, blah, blah. It was stupid. And you could only get in, like, if you were going to come in without a reservation, you could go in, like, at 4 p.m. So from 4 p.m. until dark, we were in there and saw the little bit you could see, but it was beautiful. But we've been all over Yellowstone. Yellowstone's amazing, and I love Montana. I've never been to South Dakota. That's where we'll be next. And I'm excited to see South Dakota. Welcome to the stream, Red Clay. Guess karma really buzzes back. Yeah, I guess so. Remember, weakness in the market can come in two ways, and backtests can come in two ways as well. So it can be that they dive straight down, or that they do this and let the moving average come up to price. But they'll never get too far away from the 21. They're not too far away right now. They could extend further away, but they will always come back to wherever the 21 is and test it. That's kind of, I don't know, home base, I guess, is where they come back to and then test and then move on or move through. But they can do that in two ways: sideways, or and consolidate and let this come up to price, or they can move directly down into this and test it that way. So always remember that weakness in the market doesn't necessarily mean a pullback. It can mean sideways price action too. The ADD not really supporting a giant move either. Very weak breadth today, positive 30 and dropping. Volt is also negative, so you're not seeing a whole bunch of positives. Mostly you're seeing a few stocks push the market, Apple and Google being two main characters of that, or two main players in that game. Okay, very close. An NQ showing weakness. Now we just need to see it on the ES. Come on, ES, get on board. Yes, still 644 strike. You'd like to see them close below the 8 here, but I don't know if that's going to happen. Well, there they go. All right, good close for the Bears there, trying to get that through. Now we just needed to see a little follow through, and we'd certainly like ES to get on board here with this sell so we don't drop too much. Mm-hmm. Almost there. Just need a little. There it is. All right, we got 106. And our stop is going to be 644. So 106 is 20. So it's 27. We'll make it 28. 128 will be our first take. If we can get 128, we'll take 50% off there, set our stops, and see if the bears can have any follow through today at all. Breaking down below the 21 would be a strong move from the bears. Breaking VWAP would be very likely a indication we're headed back to the pre-market low. RTY has turned red now. That's a good sign for the bears. Vold dropping into the negative now. That's a good sign for the bears. ADD dropped to the negative. Vold still 128 is the level we're looking for. So if you don't know, you can go in and look at the delta of the strike. So our delta right now is 60. And that means if price moves $1, you're going to get 60 cents paid to you. So if price goes from 643.50 to 642.50, your option price will go up 60 cents. Well, we only need 20 cents, so about a third of $1, so about 33 cents down is what we need for this to work. So 643 flat, which would be VWAP, should give us a payout. So you can kind of calculate where you're going to hit your first take and calculate, what your options price is going to be at that level. Hopefully you guys are enjoying the stream. If you are, don't forget to like it. Hit that like button and comment, subscribe, share, all of those things. Very cool. I appreciate all of them. Thank you very much in advance for doing that. Trying to get this sell signal to get some momentum here. If we can get some momentum to the downside and get a breakthrough VWAP, that would be strong. But getting to VWAP would be perfect. That gives us very likely our first payout, and we'll see exactly what happens from there. Win, lose, or draw after this trade here. Very likely to end the stream at that point and see what see where we're at in the market. But likely to end the stream. I gotta use the restroom and do some other things. So before my call, so I do want to do that. Unless, of course, this trade lasts for 2 hours, and then we'll be on the call trading. I can tough it out. I can tough it out in the name of money, right? All right, trying to push through the 21 here. If they can get through that, VWAP is the next target, which should be a payout for us. We're getting very close to a payout as it is. Almost there. Just go tag VWAP. All right, let's close half for 128. That's 3 for 3 today, guys. Winner, winner, chicken dinner. Let's set our stops. Stops to, let's set them to 105. And even if all three of these are small winners, like I said, I'm going to be done after this trade. Even if all three of these are small winners, it's an incredible day, because it's about doing this over time. And 8 cents a day on 50 contracts, because that's what we're trading now, is $100K a year. 8 cents profit a day. Crazy when you think of it like that, right? That's all you have to average. Now, so far today, let's see here. Today we had that one. So 12 cents. 13 cents is 25 cents. And this one will be let's see, that's 23 cents. So 11 cents. So 36 cents today will be our win, regardless, minimum win. And 36 cents is $1,800. So that's a great day. You do that every day. That's almost 10,000 a week. It's 9,000 a week. Obviously, you're not going to do that every day. So that's where you have to keep your mind in check. You have to keep your emotions in check, positive and negative, because when you get too many wins in a row, euphoria sets in. You don't think you can lose, and you overbet on your trade. So you have to keep that in check too, because obviously you're not going to win 5,000 or 1,800 or whatever every day, but it certainly is. It certainly gives you a big buffer against losing days. And that's the beauty of it. All right, if they can break through VWAP here, guys, we got a chance to get a really nice runner. Next 642.50 area will be the next area I'll look to take some profit. Cool, you can take tomorrow off? No, I can't do that, but, I can enjoy a steak dinner with some lobster on the side. Okay, we're to $1.45. So let's move our stops up to 110. Weekly goal met. Thanks, JG. Good luck, team. Good job, Jack. Only Wednesday. You got plenty of time to meet next week's goal, too. Good job, buddy. Okay, let's take some off here at 170. So we're going to close another half of our remaining at 170 and set our stops to 120. We're down at the high volume level. This can produce a bounce. You can see that it had some other stuff earlier that it bounced off of right here. So they're down into this area. We want to see if they're able to push through. But we took profit here because if they aren't able to push through, we don't want to give away all that money. That's silly. So we want to take some profit at this level, knowing that there was a lot of support across here and that this could easily produce a bounce and create a higher low that pushes into a higher high. So we don't want to get greedy. We want to take profit where it makes sense. High volume levels and prior support make sense. So we take profit there and see what happens. If they run, we got runners, and we're excited about that. You know, they're up to $1.80 now, so we can move our stops to $1.30. And now we have a really good chance of going down, visiting the pre-market low. Again, they don't have to go straight down there. We could get stopped out on the bounce. They could bounce, you know, they could give us this kind of look like they did on the way up, or they could just rip it directly down. The other option would be they're just making a higher low right here, so you get a boom, 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 like that. A backtest of VWAP here would not be considered uncommon. How did you anticipate this reversal again? Are you talking about off the highs? Or are you talking about right now, I guess, from where exactly? So one thing you can do, so how I knew it was coming, I didn't know it was coming. I suspected it could be coming. You have the pre-market high right below this high volume level. So I knew that this would be an area of importance. Then you want to see weakness that breaks below the 8. You see that we got the sell signal right here actually. Or the original sell signal came on this bar right here that broke below the 8, and then the one that actually printed over here. But once you start to see this area hold and falter and break back below the 8, that opens the door to at least a back test of the 21, and then now it should be a back test of the pre-market low, as this is looking like a failed breakout. We also looked at the supporting evidence. I said RTY was red, the ADD was falling, the Dow was falling, the transports were red, the banks are red. So Supporting evidence didn't lead us to thinking that this was going to be a breakout day, more like a range day or a down day, one or the other. We'll see if they can break it to the downside. I'm not confident that they can yet. Stops to $1.50, by the way. So far, they're battling to hold this support zone. They spiked through it. Now they're back above it, back above the high volume level. So battling that zone. Assuming they hold here, you could see them race this back to the highs. But the breakdown typically would lead us to the pre-market low. So I would anticipate more of a lower high situation where if they do bounce here, they bounce back up into these levels here, the call resistance as well as the moving averages, and then give us a rip down here. That's what I would anticipate for that. Let's see if we can get the more direct breakdown here, and rapid selling would be a good thing for us since we're short. no matter what, we're going to have an awesome day today. Hopefully you guys did too. If you did, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, share this, tell your friends. You've got other investors, you got family members you'd like to see do well, tell them about it. We're here every Wednesday. We'd like to have you in the room. We'd like to have you using the indicator we're demonstrating today. It's a very powerful, very strong indicator, helping traders beat the market, many of them for the first time ever, especially in day trading. Most day traders are losers, and I don't mean that they are boring to hang out with. I mean that they are losing traders, because emotion gets really heavy for day traders. People can't handle the swings. They can't understand when to stop out. They double down on bad bets. They do things that are just not required to make a lot of money in the stock market, and I'm here to help you try to fix some of those issues. So it does look like they're trying here, real close. We're a couple cents away from being stopped. Okay, we just got stopped out. So let me do the final number here. So we got 150 and 170 is 160. 160 and 128 is 32. Which is 16, which is 144 average exit there. That's a beauty. 144 average exit. So, what do we have? 25. Yeah, that's good. That is good. Good day. $31.50 on the day, net profit after a almost $6,000 day yesterday. Really, really good stuff, guys. Again, I would expect them to hold a lower high here and push down into the pre-market low. That would be the expectations. Getting back above this hot bar right here at 643.35 would probably lead them back into this zone up here. But I don't expect a big breakdown. You've got green, ES, and NQ. You got red, everything else. Great live stream. Thank you, everybody, for being here. We'll do it again next Wednesday. Appreciate great live stream.